Mindfully returning to the office, why I wrote it. I originally wrote the first version of this article actually during the pandemic when we were coming out of it. And there's a lot of discussion about how are we going to return back into offices now that we no longer had to sort of live in social isolation. I think it's important to remember what we were living through in the pandemic was not a healthy way of doing working remotely. It really was about social isolation. Not a good thing. But at the same time, what the pandemic did do is it got companies to realize that we don't have to force employees to commute like lemmings every day into work just to force them to be in the office just because you're supposed to be in the office. And discovered that when you gave employees flexibility using modern technology to have more control over their life in terms of when they do come into the office, when they don't come into the office, they really liked it. And actually, productivity and engagement went up. And what a surprise. When you give people control over their life, they like it better. But now this whole return to the office thing, it doesn't go away. This debate's going on and on and on. And I've updated this article a few times. I've followed the literature and the research on it. And what this article really focuses on is saying, okay, first of all, if we assume the reason that we want people back in offices is to increase workforce productivity, which sometimes people argue it's not. Some people say it's about, just wanting to pretend we're using these office spaces or tax things with communities. But if we assume that the goal is maximizing workforce productivity, then what should we be looking at? Well, it's not about return to the offices. It's about how do we use offices effectively to maximize collaboration and effective interaction, recognizing that an important part of work is getting together periodically and having really good conversations and meetings. But that doesn't mean we need to get people together all the time. And just putting people in the same building does not mean they're going to have great interactions. The article also talks about some of the dark sides of office cultures. Managers that evaluate employees based on, hey, you're more committed if you show early and stay up late. That is a horrible way to evaluate people for many reasons. It can create a very toxic work relationship. And basically, people should be managed and evaluated based on what they do and what they accomplish, not where they sit. And so that's the article talks about that as well. I hope that you enjoy it.